Hey, Benjamin, you know there's Sam Houston Bearkats football this week?
We're oh so close.
We are, and boy, do we have a great show today to bring you. Phil Longo, he had a press conference yesterday. We're going to tell you all about it with some reaction. We've got a preview of Western Kentucky coming up on Saturday, 6 p.m., and then we give you our predictions for this Week 0 matchup. Let's get it started. Hello and welcome to March 2 of the pod presented by Eternal Roofing. It's a roofing place you can trust with your home. Kind of like most of you trust us with Bearkat Sports. Some of you, maybe?
Some. Yeah,
Some. This is Season 3, Episode 6. The Bearkats playing the Hilltoppers this week, breaking down WKU, Longo's comments, and predictions. I'm your host, producer, and once banned but never muted as much as people would like. Cat Fans member, Cory Hogue. You can find me on social media at Cory Hogue Sports. It's all one word, CoryHogue Sports. And don't forget to check out my new Substack, Cory Hogue Sports, where I cover Texas non-FBS football every week. And as always, I'm joined by the wizard behind Sports of SHSU on Twitter and Instagram. Again, it's all one word, the COO of the Cat Fund and proud Bearkat himself, Ben Sorrells. Ben, did you see the big announcement?
Your big announcement, right?
Dude, number 7?
Yeah.
On like, I didn't even know. Like last night, my wife was like, yeah, it's like number 7 on the Rising in Sports on Substack. And I was like, what? I can use that.
I didn't even know Substack had a top 10.
I didn't either. But hey, it's a marketing tool, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's doing well.
It is. It is. Look, the response has been incredible. And thank you to anyone and everyone who's listening and has subscribed. And if you want to subscribe, look, I know Sam Houston's not FCS anymore, but you still have SFA over there, right? And
you got to stay in tune because you never know when one of them might be joining you.
You never know. And let me tell you, there's some FCS teams that it's not the same Southland Conference when Sam Houston was ruling over it a few years ago. It is a much better conference, a much deeper conference now. So, yeah, hey, you come to the Substack. We got a weekly podcast tonight, 7 o'clock. The first episode drops of the Cut Block podcast.
It's got a great intro.
It does. Jesse did a great
I've heard that one. It's good.
Jesse's got a great intro. First guest is Zach McKinnell from FCS Football Central, just one of the big national FCS guys. Hoping to get a national D2 guy next week as they start their season. Then after that, D3 starts their season. And maybe I can get one of the national guys in on this one and we can get all through there, as well as NAI and JUCO. We cover those as well. So it's a lot of fun. It's going to be interesting. There are, like, if you really want to know what's happening in these conferences around Texas, there's some things coming out pretty soon that you're going to want to be a subscriber, whether free or paid. I will take all of them. I am not picky. And for those who pay, thank you very much. And the All-Stars, it's my undying love. You can buy. Ben, there's a price for my love.
Yeah. It's on the way. How much is it?
It's $120 a year.
I was going to say,
my love.
That's what it was.
It's not expensive, right? It's not. My love is cheap. I'm a cheap man.
It's a lot cheaper than a lot of other things.
Well, it is, and look, that's another thing. Like when I did this, I was like, this isn't about. If I'm doing this for the money, then I need to stop because there's no reason to do that. I do it because I enjoy football. I enjoy these students. I enjoy highlighting the stories of these people, putting a little military flair in with some of it now. Got some interesting color setups that goes along with the wedding colors with my wife. And the story behind that's free. Anyone can go to Cory Hogue sports.substack.com. Read that post. And if you feel so inclined to subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And I think there's someone else on this podcast already who subscribed.
Yeah, I need to get my paid subscription done.
Yeah.
Because I got the regular one done. I need to get the paid one done. I need to fork my money over. Come on.
Or
you got to get on me, Cory.
Or just go and reclaim your free comp one.
No.
Just saying.
No.
Just saying. It's not that like it's just funny. Last night, my mom said something about income. I was like, this is not an income stream. Like, this is not. No, there's no pressure with this. Is me. This is my chance to tell you what I want to say, and I got nobody blocking me now.
Unfiltered. More unfiltered than you get here, even.
Way more. Look, there have been a few projects and numerous things that I wanted to do, and I was blocked on over the last couple of years. So, yeah, there's nobody blocking me anymore. So, anyway, hey, enough about me. No one else wants to hear about me. Let's get into previewing Western Kentucky and Sam Houston. We're going to hear what Phil Longo had to say at his press conference and give some reaction to some of that. But first, want to hear from our friends over at Eternal Roofing.
Eternal Roofing and General Contracting is your choice for integrity work in the Texas Hill Country. Taylor Andrus and crew provide experienced quality roofing services with a mission of roofing with faith, serving with integrity, and sheltering homes in the spirit of stewardship.
Okay, we're back.
Did we get a little too fancy?
We got a little too fancy, and we're going to go back and re-listen to this from Eternal Roofing because it's only fair.
Eternal Roofing and General Contracting is your choice for integrity work in the Texas Hill Country. Taylor Andrus and crew provide experienced quality roofing services with a mission of roofing with faith, serving with integrity, and sheltering homes in the spirit of stewardship. Don't just take our word for it. Here's what satisfied customer Pamela Allen had to say about Eternal Roofing. They did a great job on our patio roof, came out quick for a quote. The quote was very reasonable, and they started and finished work well and quickly. Not a bad thing to say about Eternal Roofing. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email them taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
And the producer's not playing with buttons anymore while that goes on. Hey, Joe Chase is watching on YouTube. He wants to know, will there be hats? If you're asking about for the Substack, no. Or for the podcast, no. Probably not. I mean, hey, look.
We could sell some merch, maybe.
I could sell, if there's enough people that want merch, I would sell merch. I just don't know why people would want merch of anything.
I would buy a hat with your face on it, with your little avatar.
Dude, I would not have a hat with my face on it. Maybe the cartoon version, right? Like the cartoon version's not so bad.
Yeah, the AI profile picture.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, AI does some good stuff. They made me look pretty decent right there. So yesterday, he wants the hat I'm wearing. Joe Chase, this is a special hat. I've worn it a few times before. Montgomery Bacon Biscuits. This was actually my first kind of minor league theme night hat. And the Montgomery Biscuits had a bacon biscuit night, and I've loved it ever since. So it's
a staple. You've worn it a few times.
It is. It is. Hey, Topper Talk is here. Said he's topped in. Looking forward to Saturday. So are we. We're not going to say go Tops, but we are going to listen to some things that Phil Longo said during his weekly press conference, starting with his thoughts about fall camp.
A lot of this camp has been about getting to know our players. It's been about trying to get them to know each other. And camp went very well. We got out healthy. And I think we have a much better relationship right now with each other than we did when some of the new guys came in. So, that's a locker room relationship. That's that's how we get to know each other on the field, and it's the relationship that we have between players and coaches. And all that in this new world of college football is very different.
All right, so they're singing Kumbaya, which is really nice. Hey,
Well,
the thing I take out of that one, Ben, is that they're healthy.
Well, yeah, that was one of the couple points. I think, one, when we listen to this press conference, it's a lot of words to say a whole bunch of not a lot, which is typical coach speak leading up to week 0, week 1. But yeah, healthy. We'll see what that looks like. We do get Conference USA injury reports now. So
Yeah, no, stop it. Stop it. Did you see the injury? Like, seriously, dude.
Yeah,
It's like, you can trust injury reports like you can trust depth charts around Conference USA right now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not going to do much. I don't know of too many lingering injuries. I know James Dawn missed a little bit of time during camp due to an injury. Sounds like he'll be fine. Only major injury I've seen or heard of is K.S. Coy, a freshman defensive end who probably didn't factor into the rotation anyway. He's like on a scooter for a foot injury, ankle injury. So that's really the biggest one, but it does sound like they are pretty healthy. And then talking about relationships and just how many new guys, I know we've talked about it a few times the last few weeks, but 55 new scholarship players, and 33 of those got there late May, early June. So yeah, a lot of relationships being built over the last few months.
There are. And by the way, you're not going to hear us talk depth chart because it's useless. WKU put out a depth chart that was numerical order by position group. They were highlighting starters from last week. There wasn't a game last week. How about that? Sam Houston put out one that I mean, good Lord, what they just throw it into AI and say, hey, Chat GPT, tell me what you would put. And that's what it came up with. You can't trust these. And that's a coach thing. Football coaches, we've talked about it before. We'll talk about it again. They think they're giving things away if they tell you who their starters are. It's funny because we're going to hear a piece later on from Western Kentucky's coach, and he made a point to say, I know all the players they brought in. Like, we have the Google machine, and we know who you have on the roster, right?
Yeah, and we know who's probably going to play.
Yeah, I mean, we have a good idea. We do. So all that stuff, that's just crazy. With WKU's injury report, everyone was questionable.
Yeah, every single player.
Every single player was, and you know what? So am I. Every day I wake up, I'm questionable to be here.
Yeah.
But there are bigger questions, and one of those is the QB room. So what did Phil Longo have to say about the quarterback room?
We've rotated through 3 quarterbacks. I like all 3 of them. Sometimes you rotate through quarterbacks because you can't find the guy. You go running back by committee, or you rotate through the receivers, or you just don't have one elite guy. That's not the issue in our quarterback room. I think there's some real talent in our quarterback room, and I alluded to iron sharpens iron earlier, and that's definitely going on in that room right now. Mabry and Matoyer came in with the advantage of knowing the offense. So mentally he was ahead of the others. Landon Locke was a commit at Wisconsin. His brother played in our system there. And so he already knew a lot about the offense. So that was a little bit of an advantage for him. Hunter comes in not knowing any of it. So he was behind the other 2 mentally, not because he couldn't learn it, but because he hadn't had experience in the system. And so the advantage Hunter had is he's got real starting playing time. And he knows Sam Houston. He knows the ropes. He knows a lot of these players. And, so they each had a little bit of a different advantage heading into the room.
That's Phil Longo on the quarterbacks. And before we go any further, the audio was a little messy in the presser yesterday. And if you think that's bad, wait till we get to Western Kentucky's audio from their press conference. On that one, listen, Ben, you've heard it before. If you got 2 quarterbacks, you've got none. I'd say if you got 3 quarterbacks, you need to hit the transfer portal. What did you take away from what he said?
Honestly, the biggest thing is that Landon Locke is your 3rd QB and not DJ Bailey.
Which could be number 2 or 1 too, though.
Yeah. I mean, he's number 3, but I thought that was interesting. I put on Monday in the Cat Fund section on catfans.com who's getting the start on Saturday. It's been decided internally. Got it from 2 different people on Monday. So if you're a Cat Fund subscriber, you've already seen it over there. But
and if you're not, cat-fund.com, right?
Yeah.
Cat-fund.com. Get over there and become a member, and you can find out as well who's going to be starting quarterback on Saturday.
Right, and so they're not going to tip their hand there. Obviously, they're not going to tip their hand anywhere, really. But, yeah, I think the most interesting thing was that he mentioned Landon Locke. Coming off an ACL injury, didn't play last year in high school as the 3rd QB.
There you go. And, Ben, you will also be there at the game this week. So pay attention, Sports of SHSU on Twitter.
And that Cat Fund section, I'll be putting some stuff in there before I put it out on socials too.
There you go. So we're going to get into the Cat Fund later, but look, we're already promoting it because good things are happening for members of Cat Fund over there. Now, if you want to win a football game, you got to win inside the trenches. What did Phil Longo have to say about his offensive line and particularly the center position?
You know, I've had some great character guys, overachievers, really efficient, and then I've had some just flat out great ball players at that position over the years. We've learned to do with less there, and we've learned what it's like from a benefit standpoint to have a great center. So here we've got a number of guys. We've got 3 guys that have been rolling through. I would play any one of them right now. I think they have different strengths, obviously, but we're happy with the depth at center. You know, that's kind of the quarterback of the front line, and they're gonna make all the calls and manage everything. And so, you know, we've been rolling through 3 guys, even with our first team, just to give them all good work against the first team defense. And that's probably one of the areas up front right now that we feel real confident about.
Okay, so if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none, you have 3, you need to go to the portal. If you've got 3 centers, you've got a lot of problems, in my opinion. Now, look, I think a lot of this, we know a lot of this. It's coach speak. A lot of this is not wanting to give away much. Same thing that Tyson Helton did at Western Kentucky this week. Gotcha. Is there anything you can glean from what he said about the offensive line group, and what should we expect from that group this year?
Yeah, I asked the question about the center spot because Ethan Hagler had been the starter for 5 years, and it's probably the biggest question on the offense as a whole outside of the quarterback. But James Dawn, since the spring, I had reported and talked about, looked to be the guy sliding over to center. Like I said a couple minutes ago, he missed some time during camp, so it doesn't surprise me that they've rotated 3 guys in and out there at the center position. Isaac Sohn is one. Peyton McDonald is probably the 3rd. He played a lot of center at the JUCO level last year. So, and on the depth chart, James Dawn was starting at center. You know James Dawn is going to start. So it looks like Dawn is probably your center. The only other position of question is kind of right tackle, but I think you've got some decent options. I bet it's Kevin Kalanji or Quentin Williams most likely over there. So feel pretty good about the O-line, and I would say things are trending towards it being James Dawn at the center position.
Awesome. But we got to go to the other side of the ball because you got to stop somebody sometimes. What does that D-line look like? Here's about a minute long of Longo telling us on the defensive tackles here.
Spring was to recruit some guys that we felt that could hold up and do the things we want to do in our defense, up front. So recruiting D tackles and recruiting edges was one of our top priorities from a recruiting standpoint last year. We like the numbers that we brought in. We like the players that we brought in. Damian Adams and Isaac Mooring are doing a fantastic job prepping them. They have really challenged us offensively. They've challenged our offensive line. And so there's been a good give and take and a good battle there. And I think right now we like where we are from a depth standpoint there. And there's a couple we think are going to be premier playmakers. I think there's 2 up there right now, and we're going to wait and see how that goes on Saturday. But we're excited to see that new unit, that brand new unit, go to work.
Isaac Mooring shout out right there. I like
Yeah.
that. I'm all about that. Again, no names, right? And neither coach. Nobody wants to give names right now. It is defensive tackle a spot of concern for the Cats.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's the biggest position of concern on the entire roster. I mean, as of right now, you have Dylan Frazier, who I know has had a good camp. You brought back Cordell Pat, but they were like your 5-6 last year, 4-5. It's a lot to ask of them to move up, and you brought in two true defensive tackles, both from the JUCO ranks, both who weigh 290 pounds, so they're not your 320, 330 guys you typically see in the middle, and who knows what they look like. So I think you've got four guys, two of them who have shown they can be average players at this level, two who are still unproven. And so it's a huge question. I think on the edge, you've got 2, 3, possibly 4 guys you feel good about, and maybe a little more depth, but I think the top end talent is a little better. Keelan Cox is the biggest name to know, was listed as a 2 on the depth chart, which is just another one that obviously is a bluff. So yeah, defensive tackle depth and top end talent's a huge question, like we've talked about for a while. I think the top end talent's a little better on the edge. That's probably what he's referencing. And they've got a little more depth also on the edge.
Hey, that's fine. Let them have that right there. I will see. Saturday is when we're going to find out, right? Like we're talking about it. Now Saturday is go time. Man, he did not ease my concerns about the D-line.
And we kind of knew that there might be 1 or 2 guys that would stand out. Like Keelan Cox, I think we've got high expectations for. Zaquid Lawton, a lot of potential. I love what Brian Spalding brings. So there's a couple guys on the edge that I think have some potential, but the depth and high-end talent, especially at D-tackle, is a huge concern.
We've got so much more. These quotes only get better as we go along. We're going to start with this one. Coach Longo's thoughts on college football today.
You know, there's no blueprint for this right now. It's still new. You know, I've been involved with, you know, NIL, rev share, player supplementation, whatever you want to call it. It's comes from different places. It's all really the same thing at the end of the day. It's not going away. It's not going to change. So, you know, we can sit here and complain about it. We could talk about the negatives. We can talk about whether we agree or disagree with this atmosphere. But I prefer really not to waste a lot of time and effort on it. And I've told our players that. And we need to keep the main thing, and that's playing football. You know, when you try to, while you're recruiting, find guys that love the game. I'm not ignoring that this business side of the game exists. It certainly does. And so we're going to address it. And we're attacking it. You know, there's 2 things. You can complain about it and let people pass you by, or you can attack it and make it work for you. And that's what we're doing here at SAM. And so I think at the end of the day, I hear a lot about this thing becoming very transactional and not as relational as it used to be. I just choose not to do that. I think it's much harder. It takes more time and effort for this thing to still be about relationships, because the business end of things, the financial end of things, can change the mood of a meeting quickly.
All right. Some good stuff there. My goodness, imagine telling your players you're just not going to care about the NIL right now. Listen, relationships is the same. Paying players is not new. It just is now above the table instead of under the table. It's no secret that this has been going on for a while. It's just now above board, and now they got to deal with it. Ben, what's your kind of takeaway from that message right there? And how – also, I want to say this. It's still about relationships. As much as but money is a part of a relationship now, right? Sometimes that can help, but it still is about relationships in the end for most of the college guys that Sam Houston is going to be recruiting.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the relationship aspect, and I think Longo has done a good job, I guess, through the alumni base, reaching out to former players and probably current players. Obviously, you don't know what's going on in the locker room. I know he did say he doesn't want to spend a lot of time on NIL and paying players and all that. And that was the interesting part because I know he does have a big hand in that within the program. And there's no general manager in the program. And that's typically the general manager's job. So it's something that he has taken on personally, which is fine, but it's something he's got a big hand in, I know, as a head coach.
Well, and he has built relationships. He's a believer in relationships. He talks about it all the time. But I'm going to have a little bit of issue with this next quote here. Not necessarily the substance, but, percentage-wise. This is more about building relationships from our couples therapist, Coach Phil Longo.
But we're going to continue to put the added time in that we need to have good relationships with our players, and we're going to take care of them while we're here. I had an alum ask me, how can you get to know a guy that's only going to be here a year? And I told him, I say this all the time. I know couples who got together in under a year, got married, and now they're married 42 years. So you can develop a strong, positive relationship in a year. Is it easier than 4 years? No, it's not. Does it get more difficult because there's the business piece of it? Yeah, it most certainly does. But at the end of the day, we're going to treat people like people. We're going to take care of our players. And then when it comes time, when it's the right time to talk finances, we do.
All right. So as someone who was in the Army, I have also seen people get married for the whole purpose of going on a deployment and then coming back. And some of those do work out for 40 years. But let me tell you something, Ben. 70% of them or more are not. Yeah. Right? Like, that's not a good... You build the relationship. This isn't marriage. This is a relationship with a kid going to school. And right now, we still need to realize that these are 18 to 22, 23, 24-year-old men / young men, and they're all at different stages in their growth, and they need someone to be there the relationship-wise, which I think he is, but they also need him to care about the whole aspect and every aspect of being an athlete, right?
Yeah, and I think he was talking about it in the context of you might have a guy for just 1 year, and it's how do you build that relationship within that 1 year. And it's something that they've had to do this year with 55 new scholarship players, and it's something they'll have to do next year because they've got 30, 35 seniors, and there's bound to be 10, 20 guys at least hit the portal as normal. So it's a year-over-year thing, and I think he talked about it too in his press conference. It's like, what team can you assemble this year? What do you do with it? And then the next year, what team can you assemble and what do you do with it? Because every team every year is going to be vastly different.
But it's been, even when coaches bring back everyone, what do you always hear them say? Every team is different.
Yep.
Right? In that aspect, I just don't know that much has changed.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know. Not that I'm a wise guy by any means, but I know that if you're enjoying this show, you can help us grow by rating and reviewing March to the Pod on your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Podbean at marchtothepod.podbean.com. That's March, the number 2, the pod.podbean.com. And on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, find us at March to the Pod. Also put up some videos on TikTok last week. March, number 2, the Pod on social media, and we are proud to be a part of the Conference USA podcast roundtable with shows covering all 12 Conference USA programs. And Ben, you will be on there live Friday, 6 p.m. to help preview Sam Houston and Western Kentucky with our Topper Talk friends.
Yeah, Friday night, 6 o'clock Central. Should be about a 20-30 minute episode. Game preview with our good friends over at Topper Talk, and yeah, it should be a good time. It'll be over on the Conference USA Roundtable YouTube, X account, all that kind of stuff. It'll be live on there on Friday night.
It will, and if you're following our social accounts, we'll be retweeting that out, sharing out those links as well as they get put out. You know who's important to me? Eternal Roofing. They're important to me. And let's hear a little more about what they offer.
Eternal Roofing only uses the finest materials in the roofing business while providing an exceptional warranty. Why do they use CertainTeed products? Because they complement any appearance, provide exceptional and reliable strength, and are known for their enduring performance. Here's what Shane Sosa had to say about Eternal Roofing. Taylor and his team are amongst the highest level of professionals. They care about their customers and go above and beyond just doing the job. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539 or email taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
Hey, later on, I have this graphic. You're going to be impressed. I spent all day working on it, but you're going to be impressed. You got something else before we head into previewing Western Kentucky?
Yeah, this is a storyline that I don't think is going to happen, but it's something I'm watching for on Saturday. Is Sam Houston's 2 new position coaches have still not been uploaded to the website. They did not make it in the game notes. Their pictures did not make it onto the coaches graphic in the game notes. And Sam Houston historically has taken months sometimes to get guys hired. And it was only about 5 to 6 weeks ago that one of them was hired. Is there the meme where someone's like this? Brian Windhorst.
Brian Windhorst.
Is there a scenario where these coaches are not hired yet and they are not coaching in the game?
Are they on the staff directory?
No.
Then they're probably not.
And I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this is something to look for.
Yeah, let's be careful. Let's be clear here. That is not a coach issue.
No.
That is a human resources issue. And that when you got a university that can't get people through the HR process faster than 6 years, we got a problem.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, so
right.
I don't know. We'll look for it on Saturday.
We will see. Well, this Saturday, August 23rd at 6 p.m., the Cats invade Hutchins. Did I say that right? Hutchins Smith?
Hutchins or Hutchins, one of the two.
Hutchins. Some sort of Smith Stadium. It's in Bowling Green, Kentucky, so why would I care anyway? It's not Texas. It's for a Conference USA Week 0 showdown. The game will air on CBS Sports Network. For those of you who saw graphics earlier this week, it's the Sports Network, not CBS itself. Chris Lewis will be on play-by-play. Robert Turbin will give the analysis, and Lauren Green will be reporting from the sidelines. Series history. This is the 4th all-time meeting, 3rd consecutive season that they have played. All of them, I'm going to guess, in Conference USA the last 3 years. Sam Houston won in 2004.
Yep.
Western Kentucky took the last 2. Last year, 31-14 in Huntsville in October. And on the road, the Cats are 0-1. The one road game they played against Western Kentucky, November 2023, they took a 28-23 loss. Anything about the series and the series history with that? I read something. I didn't really catch it today, but it was in 2004. It was a playoff game. I remember that. I think they lost to Montana State the next week or later on that season.
Yeah, and I think it might have been Coach Randleman's final season or something along those lines.
It was the all-time winningest coach in Sam Houston history.
Yeah, and then the past 2 years, 2 years ago, we got a fumble and an interception in the red zone, lost by 5. I think that was your 8th straight loss before you finally turned things around. And then last year, you kept it close. Hunter Watson gets the concussion before halftime, and the second half was just horrible for Sam Houston.
Well, Coach Tyson Hilton and Phil Longo know each other, and this is Tyson Hilton's thoughts on Coach Longo. This one here is just over a minute long.
Well, I think, first of all, Sam Houston is going to be a really good football team. One, their head football coach is a fantastic coach. He's been in a lot of fires and foxholes, and so, I know this will be his opportunity. He's been a head coach before, but, he's an opportunity to be a head coach at a D1 level. I don't think he'll blink. I think he'll manage the game exceptionally well. I have tremendous respect for him. I know his team will be ready to play. If you look at them offensively, they got a lot of guys back, a lot of firepower. We've played against those guys, have tremendous respect for those guys. They have good playmakers. I think they got four out of the 5 offensive linemen back. So tremendous challenge right out of the gate for our defense, right? So because there's some stability there offensively from what they've had in the past. And then, I've evaluated them defensively, and they signed a lot of good football players, and looked at the people that they've signed, they do a good job. So it's going to be a big challenge right out of the gate, but we're excited about it. It's great to be home to play this conference game. It's great. It's a week 0 game. You're one of the few college games on TV that day. So there's a lot of pluses for this home opener for sure.
With the audio, I apologize for that, but that is the Western Kentucky audio. It was not good. But in its Topper Talk comes in helping us out, Houchins Stadium. Houchins. So I probably won't remember in 2 years, but, hey, I do try to get things right. Thank you for that. I don't think anyone's expecting issues when it comes to game management and everything with Longo. We haven't really talked about it, and I think a lot of it's because we don't really expect it. I don't think he went to the Mike McCarthy School of Coaching, so I think he'll be all right.
Should be.
Yeah,
we'll see.
And we all know, we've all seen Mike McCarthy manage a clock over the last few years, right? Thank God we ain't doing that no more.
That's one way to put it.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, and I was going to say another fun note, too. I tweeted this out 2 days ago. You know who Georgia Southern's head coach is?
It's Helton, right?
Yeah, Clay Helton. Now we're
playing
Tyson to start this season. I thought that was interesting. Helton's back-to-back, and he's a great coach. I mean, hasn't really gotten over the hump at WKU, but, I mean, they're an 8, 9, 10-win team every year.
Clay is more famous.
For going to USC.
Well, he was in Michigan, too, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think for a little bit.
Yeah, see? I like I said, he's just more famous. And the other thing, too, I think we need to make clear, nobody knows, other than what you can find on the internet, and nobody knows what these two teams really have. There's been so many changes at so many different places for both teams that there is a lot of unknown heading into Saturday.
Yeah, on both ends. I've been doing some research on WKU, and I think they're replacing 16 starters from last year at the end of last year. So, I mean, there's a lot of turnover there as well.
Yeah, there is. We're going to get into what we expect from WKU in a minute. Let's hear what Coach Tyson Hilton expects to see from the Sam Houston offense.
I think he does a great job of whatever his best personnel can do best. That's what he can do. He's a very knowledgeable coach in the sense that, yes, he's known for the air raid, but does a great job in the run game. He can be multiple. So just like us, you evaluate what your players do best, and that's what you hang your hat on. So you have to prepare for a lot. Obviously they're going to come in here and try to run the football and then try to throw it over your head, and he can come in here and throw it 50, 60 times, or he can come in here and say, hey, we got a good running back and a good offensive line. We're going to hand this rock off. He does like tempo offense, so you got to be ready for a fast-paced offense as well. And he does a great job of evaluating what you're doing defensively and trying to attack you based upon what you're doing. So, again, tremendous respect for him and that football team, and it's going to be a great challenge right out of the gate.
Look, Tyson Hilton makes great points right there. Phil Longo, this offense, there's going to be some schematic things and this and that, but you really don't know. He is a guy that has always based his offense around what talent can do on it, and I don't think that's going to be any different this year.
Right, and it's why I have emphasized that they probably are going to go a little more run heavy, and we've seen Longo do that at North Carolina his first year at Sam Houston, and in Longo's presser, he was asked how his air raid offense has kind of evolved since his time at Sam Houston, and Longo reiterated, like he always has, that he's going to play to his personnel, and your personnel is a really deep running back room, and I think you've got a couple wide receivers that are super talented, but they're going to utilize their running backs, and I'm sure of it.
I'm going to kind of flip the show script as we're going here just a little bit, because we just heard what Tyson Helton expects to see from the offense with tempo. Well, Phil Longo was asked a question about tempo. So what should we expect to see from this Sam Houston offense, according to the head coach? This is about a minute and a half long.
So if by fast you mean tempo, I don't know. I think what we'd like to do, we want to play a composed, poised, good decision-making game. We want to secure the football. There are some things that happen maybe a little bit more so in early games like this. The pressure's on. You're in a conference game on opening day. You're playing week 0. Last time I played a football game on August 23rd was 2014 here, when we flew out and played number 1 Western or Eastern Washington. So this is a challenge. There's no question. I think we want to play smart football. We want to be alert to situational areas of the ball game. We want to secure the football. We want to play efficiently. I think those things, when you put those things together early, you get off to a fast start. Fast start to me would be a successful start. So, you're moving the ball, you're playing good defense. We're working very diligently here, and we will for the next 3-4 days to try to polish and clean. And if something's not going well right now in practice, we're going to eliminate it. We're not going to do anything we're unsure about. So when we take the field Saturday, we'll be running and executing what we're doing that we feel ultra confident about, and that we feel like we got a great shot to execute without making mistakes. And that's the best way to prepare ourselves, for the opening game of a season away, at a conference opponent.
There was a whole lot, again, of coach speak in there. What can we expect from this Sam Houston offense? We have talked about it at length. What else can you add?
Yeah, I think tempo is one of the biggest factors to watch. The air raid offense, known for the tempo, he mentioned it there, playing with tempo, playing quickly, getting to the line of scrimmage quickly, snapping the ball quickly, which I think is something we'll see early on from this offense, especially probably against Western Kentucky, when there's just so many unknowns the first couple drives of the series. But throughout that game and throughout this year, I am intrigued to see if they keep the tempo up, because this defense for Sam Houston is one that's likely going to struggle. And if you're only putting together 1 and 2 minute drives, it's only going to hurt your defense even more. So I expect a lot of tempo, especially out of the gate on Saturday. But how much tempo do they go with the rest of the game, I think, is something to watch.
Pay close attention to the adjustments in the second and third quarters. As they start getting into 3, 4, 5 drives, they start getting more info on each other. You could see some schemes and some things change depending on how the game is going. Sam Houston, defensively, what do you expect to see from them this week?
Yeah, if they could just hold up a little bit. This is a WKU offense that brings in the ACU offensive coordinator, ACU quarterback Maverick McIver, one of the top offenses at the FCS level, put up 51 at Texas Tech last year, 31 at North Dakota State. He threw for almost 4,000 yards. They're really gonna sling it around, and they've got some really good receivers out there. So if they can just find a way to hold up, I think everyone knows the secondary is probably your strongest part of the defense. If they could just find a way to get a little bit of pressure, I think they'll be okay. But I don't know if they'll be able to. So that's the biggest question mark for this team on Saturday, and really for the whole season, is can they get enough pressure to where the DBs, who should be an okay to average group, can hold up and cover, whether that be zone, man, whatever it is.
I am a big fan of Western Kentucky offensive coordinator Rick Bowie. If you've listened to the show, you've heard me say that over and over again. Let me tell you, if you're just expecting the passing, they ran the ball down their throat last year at Abilene Christian. The run game didn't get the press because of just how efficient Maverick McIver was, and he had some outstanding weapons as well. But that offensive line and the running game was also extremely dynamic. And some of the plays get put in the book as a pass play because the ball goes forward. It's really more like a run play in some of those. But if the ball leaves the guy's hand forward, the guy catches it, that technically by stats is a pass play. So you'll see, you got to look at some of that too. They're also going to be a little bit physical.
Yeah, and I am interested to see how much WKU runs the ball because they lost Elijah Young, their star running back last year, who had 800 or 900 yards, was really good, and they brought in a plethora of receiver additions through the portal. Matthew Henry, an FCS All-American transfer, Jarius Mack from Charlotte, Kelby Williams from Old Dominion, both had 400 or 500 yards last year. KD Hutchinson returns. He had a huge game against us last year, had an 88-yard touchdown pass. So I do kind of question their weapons at running back, but they are loaded at receiver. So I am intrigued to see how much they run the ball on Saturday.
Okay, so before we get more into what you expect from the Western Kentucky offense and defense, let's hear what Coach Phil Longo expects on Saturday.
You're going to minimize the focus because during camp you are installing and executing the entire offensive system. You're installing all of your special teams. You're installing the entire package on defense, and you're trying to get to a certain level of efficiency in each of those areas, particularly situational football. Once we narrow this thing down to a week focus, maybe a week and a half focus on Western Kentucky or whoever the next opponent is at that particular time, it is all about specifically what you're going to do for that game, and you're trying to hone that stuff, and you're trying to make sure that it all obviously applies to your opponent. So right now we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky, and so most of what we're doing this week is about us, what we need to do, and how we need to execute. So the focus is inward right now with regards to preparing ourselves for numerous different situations that may occur in the game. And I think without question we're going to take the field to Western Kentucky on both sides of the football and see something that we don't expect. And the key is to be composed and poised enough to be able to react to it and attack it.
All right, Ben, there is something a coach should probably never say.
Right now.
Okay, I wonder what it is because it might be.
Oh, here we go. You ready?
Right now,
Yeah.
we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
Yeah, it was very contradictory. He said about a week and a half out, we start to focus on our next opponent, and then he said we don't know a whole lot about Western Kentucky, and that was 4 days out.
Yeah, let me tell you, this
Right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
is not going to be good. And you think that this guy right here ain't going to have that playing over and over if Western Kentucky rolls them? Why weren't they ready to go?
Right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
Hey, Ben, what do you expect from Western Kentucky?
Right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
And he said at another point earlier or later in the press conference, I forget where that was, that they haven't spent a whole lot of time on Western Kentucky at that point, which I was just very confused by.
I wouldn't say that. I would not. So, Coach Phil Longo, what do you expect from Western Kentucky?
Right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
Well,
But, okay.
I will give him at the end. He said there is going to be something that we haven't seen, and it's how do we adjust to it. That is true. I will give him that part.
Let me be very clear that in context, it's not a bad quote.
Right.
But when someone like me can pull,
Right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
it ain't going to go well for you. It's
No.
just not. I am going to use that just because I find this hilarious. I do. I find humor in that. So we now know that Coach Phil Longo doesn't know anything about Western Kentucky. What about you, Ben? What are you expecting to see from the Western Kentucky offense?
Yeah, well, like I said a minute ago, I could sling it around. I am interested to see how Maverick McIver looks moving up to this level. Obviously, it's a jump to the FBS level. He did play some really good teams there. So, I'm very intrigued to see what they look like. Western Kentucky has had a ton of success with quarterbacks in the past. Last time they went and got a Texas FCS transfer, it was Bailey Zappi, and he was setting all sorts of records. And I think they have that kind of potential, so I'm interested to see if he can live up to that potential and what they look like. And they've got 4 new starters on the O-line also, it sounds like, so how they gel also I think is something to watch.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of returning starters, and so that's a lot of putting pieces together, which is why there's a whole lot of unknowns. Coach Phil Longo, what do you know about the Western Kentucky defense?
Right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
Okay, thank you. Ben, what do you know about the Western Kentucky defense?
Yeah, it's another group that I think is replacing 8 starters from last year. They're similar to us. I think their questions are on the D line. I know Phil Steele's magazine in the summer or about a month or 2 ago had them as the worst D line in Conference USA, which I think is something when looking at ours. So I do think there might be some sort of weakness there. It sounds like their strength is on the back end. Was listening to the Topper Talk preview of the D-line a day or 2 ago, and a lot of transfers there. And on the interior, it sounds like they've got 2 or 3 guys at 320, 330, which I think is big. We don't really have that kind of size at Sam Houston on the D-line. Sounds like they will. So I'm interested to see how those guys can plug up holes and if they're able to, especially if we're going to run the ball a lot.
Another Topper Talk shout out on the show. You know, I here's about what I know about Western Kentucky.
Right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
It's not a whole heck of a lot. Hey, but I
We're
do
gonna have
know
to go
that
back and
Eternal.
listen.
Do
I was
what?
gonna say we're gonna have to go back and listen how many times you hit that button.
Oh, it's good.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Believe me, I've got it saved on here. It's not leaving. That much I can tell you. This is a routine now. Not every week, but you know, at least this week and maybe next week, depending on how that game goes.
Yeah.
But I do know that Eternal Roofing, they do a great job with roofs. They do a great job with general contracting, but they also do Christmas lights, Ben. And here it is, August the 20th. You better get on that schedule. It feels fast.
Yeah, I think it was early November last year. They were pretty much filled up.
I think so. So
Yeah,
here
I
it
mean,
is.
You got
Hey,
2 months to get in.
we're going to tell you more about those Christmas lights right here.
Eternal Roofing is locally owned and dedicated to giving back to the community by supporting local organizations and charities. They are also the winner of Next Door's Neighborhood Faves for 2 consecutive years. And as you know, if you've listened to this podcast, Eternal Roofing is your choice for Christmas lights. They provide premium lights tailored to fit your home, season-long maintenance, and hassle-free removal. Kyle Tatum said, "They're very professional and great quality, on time and clean, and really made me feel like they cared for me and my home." Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
Big thank you to our friends over at Eternal Roofing. And now, before we get to our predictions and what Vegas is saying about Saturday's game, going to check in with Ben Sorrells for the latest from the Cat Fund events initiatives, how you can get involved with supporting Bearkat student athletes.
Yep, cat-fund.com. There we go. Look at Cory getting
Look
there
at that.
time. Yeah. There we go. Cat-fund.com. You can sign up for as little as $10 a month. Get access to a lot of really good stuff. And like you said, the events we've got coming up, basketball, casino night auction, and golf tournament weekend, about 6 weeks away. All Cat Fund members get 15% discount into that kind of stuff. Cory, again, making a great appearance. Insider info, I was talking about the quarterback position earlier this week, so had that. I'll be at the game on Saturday with notes in there before we put it on social media. And then also looking at another event in November for people to come out to support one of our...
I'm going to get this right. I swear to God. I'm going to get this right.
It's a memorable part. We'll have to clip good for Cat Fund. So there we go. But yeah, that's everything we got going on. A lot of good stuff. Definitely want to sign up, support these teams, and come out to the events that we've got this fall. Now we need Cory back. There we go.
I apologize. If you're listening, you have no idea what is happening. If you're watching, you're wondering what the hell is happening, because the producer's not been on a good producing game today, let's say. And so I was trying to go solo shot, and it was me on the screen and not Ben, and it went sideways on me there. Meanwhile, Ben, great things going on with Cat Farm.
Yes.
Hey, you want to see something else? Look at that.
That's fancy.
Look at that. We could have had that the whole show, but you know why we didn't?
Producer messed it up. I don't know.
Producer, man. Yes, it says football like soccer. No.
We talked about soccer a week or two ago.
We did, but we call that European football. Over here, this is American football. Jason Plotkin on YouTube said, Ben, safe travels to Bowling Green, Kentucky. I'm going to say that's BGKY.
Yeah.
Always enjoyed stopping there back in my prior career, particularly for hoops. Hey, I want to say real quick that I actually had relatives that lived in Bowling Green, but I still have never been there. Know nothing about it.
Yeah, I don't really know much about it. I will roll in there Saturday afternoon, see what they've got, and get out Sunday. So yeah, I'm excited to see what it's like. I know Topper Talk a couple days ago had a tweet about some food locations, so I might have to hit that up for a late lunch or something like that. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Bowling Green has.
You got my attention.
Talking about food.
Yeah. All right. Hit show on.
Oh, did we lose Cory? Oh no.
I mean, I'm here. I'm just trying to figure out what the heck's happening there. What I got to fix later on the show. You know why?
Right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
That would be why we don't know a whole lot about Western Kentucky. But what we do know is that there is a game, and wait till you see this one right there. Check that out. Sam Houston at Western Kentucky, 6 p.m. Saturday, CBS Sports Network. Like we said before, the line opened with Western Kentucky -7 and over under at 61.5. Currently, the line sits at Western Kentucky -10, and the over-under is a point lower at 60.5. Your initial thoughts on those lines right there, Ben?
Yeah, I know the over-under has been a hot topic in the betting community the last few days because it is so high. And Sam Houston has had a offense that hasn't been great the last few years, but I think it's a game, and we'll get into it in a second, where I think the over feels like a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, for a lot of people it does. So what Vegas says, is that Western Kentucky wins this game 35.25 to 25.25, which we know quarters are impossible in the game of American football outside of the 15 minutes that you play 4 of those. Western Kentucky's a 35-25 favorite to win that game. Before we get to me, because I don't,
right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
I don't know crap about Western Kentucky. I ain't gonna lie to you. So before we get to my prediction, let's hear what Ben has to say.
Yeah, like I alluded to, a lot of points on both sides. Obviously, Sam Houston's defense is a huge question mark. I think Western Kentucky's defense is a question mark. Phil Longo known for his offense, Maverick MacGyver and Rick Bowie known for their offense. I do have Western Kentucky winning, but it's going to be a shootout. I'm going to call it 42-28, Western Kentucky.
Whoa, 42-28. Ben, you have Western Kentucky winning and covering this weekend.
I do.
Okay. Hey,
I think it's a back and forth battle. I think your depth gets tested. Western Kentucky runs away with it the last quarter and a half.
And you're probably not wrong, because before I start, I just want to be clear.
Right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
But what I do know is that there's a lot of question marks on both sides. We've talked about it ad nauseum today. There's 3 starters back, like on offense, not many on defense for Western Kentucky. We know about all the changes for Sam Houston. I just don't think that and everything is going to be flowing real well week one. You also get week one, you will get mistakes you don't get for the rest of the season. It's everybody's worst game is week one. It always is. So you got to remember that. I see a lower scoring game. I think the under is probably pretty safe.
Ooh.
The question for me is on the spread. 10 points seems right. It seems really good. But I'm a gambler and I can't just go push. I can't cheer for a push. I think it's going to be first game stuff. You're going to see a whole bunch of things go a little sideways at times. At the end of the day, Western Kentucky comes away with a sloppy 30-23 win. I have under and I have Sam Houston covering on this one.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I think a lot of there's just so many questions on both sides of the ball. I think it goes over, but I don't know. Like you said, first week of the season, especially week 0, 1 week less. Who knows if things are firing on all cylinders? But I think both defenses with question marks. I lean the over.
I hate to take off that graphic. Pretty proud of it. We'll see a new version of it again next week.
Are you going to put on the walking football, Sammy?
When there's one that I can get a PNG of right now, like
that was kind of the butt of the joke. They haven't done anything with the logo since they put them out.
Jesus Christ, no, they haven't done anything with it. And by the way, let's go back to this real quick since we're kind of at the end of the show and people who didn't want to listen have tuned out anyway. This is a premier mascot mark matchup here, alternate mark, right? You've got Sammy and you've got whatever they call big red dude with the eyes that is so awesome. And the uniforms, the colors, this presentation wise, these two schools do pretty well. Now, how it's going to go on the field, first.
Right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
That's right. We just don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
Yeah. Well, and you talked about uniforms and look and all that stuff. Sam Houston announced their new uniforms for this year. I mean, the orange and white are pretty much the same, just a slightly different design letters, but the gray is officially out there now. You would think they roll with the white as the road team, but who knows? Maybe they break out the gray.
All right, so let's do this then. Do you have time to do this?
I mean, you put a tweet out about it, so
I did. Because first off, there's two parts. Because did you see Middle Tennessee earlier this week? They're making news.
Yeah, as soon as we get an alternate jersey, it's the cool thing to get rid of them.
Because they saved $633,000.
Yep.
That's a lot. Now, I also think that an alternate jersey is okay if it sells. Joe Chase on YouTube said no gray uniforms. It's hideous, man. And then you've got the orange helmet with the gray. It don't look good. You're not going to sell it. But hear me out. If you had a black uniform with the black helmet, we don't even have to guess what it would look like. You see it all over social media already.
Yep, and the fans want it.
Not only do the fans want it, other team fans. It's like what I was telling, East Texas A&M when they were Texas A&M Commerce. Like, you're going to make up the money that you spend for branding in merch sales. Same thing with football. You're going to more than make up what it costs you to get those uniforms and helmets, all black with the orange, maybe even a little like white trim, a slight point, like 1 point white trim around the numbers to get them pop off of the black just a little bit more. And on the logo too, right? Think of that. A little white trim on the logo on the black helmet. Dude, you're going to sell a ton of those. And it would also help if you're going to do this and you're actually listening. Also come up with a marketing strategy, have the merch ready to go so that when you do it, you've got t-shirts out, you've got uniforms out. Oh, get mini helmets. People love to buy those little mini helmets.
Yeah.
Get those out there. I'm telling you, you will more than make up what it cost you to get the uniforms.
I agree. And another behind the scenes thing is black jerseys were pitched before last season. And Cory, I'll have to send these to you. I don't know if I have already, and the school said no to an alternate jersey. And the other point, football is the only sport at Sam Houston without a black jersey, which I feel like if there's any sport that should get it first, it should be football, especially coming off arguably the most historic season in school history.
But instead, like Joe Chase says, you can't mix orange and white. Well, you can when you're Sam Houston. And, it all goes back to the same thing right now. And the focus, it's not together right now. Sam Houston could be a lot better as a university, as an athletics department. Things are not being handled specifically well right now. And I would like to see that change.
Yeah, no, there is certainly room for improvement in a lot of areas, from HR to marketing to everything in between.
Yeah, you might not have coaches who were hired months ago on the sideline because HR can't get them through in time. That's BS. That is BS.
Yeah,
I'm not going to cuss because I don't want to have to change the rating on the show. But geez, man.
My last point on it, and I think it will probably be both of our last points on it, is we'll see what Cory has to say. Sam Houston had the Sam Houston Astros night the other night. A lot of people went. Astros put together Sam Houston / Astros jersey with the number 79, for 1879. Really cool. No multiple people at the game, and there was nothing from Sam Houston put on the billboard at the Astros game saying they're playing across the street this year. Or really any advertising outside of what the Astros did for the jerseys.
And what I saw one post about it on social media. If you have Tarleton, and I'm intentionally using these schools. If you've got Tarleton, let's say Stephen F. Austin right now. What is Stephen F. Austin going to do with that? They're going to promote the hell out of it, man.
Yeah.
Heck, when Commerce used to have Texas Rangers night, Rangers had Commerce nights, right? You couldn't look at the batter from the center field camera without seeing Texas A&M Commerce in the background. They bought the advertising sign there.
Yeah.
And now it's East Texas A&M that they have back there. And they're not the only ones. You've got to do those things. There's just so many areas that they're missing, and I think a lot of it starts.
Right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.
So we probably got to figure that crap out before Saturday,
You got a lot to figure out, but yeah.
That's a wrap for this episode of March Through the Pod presented by Eternal Roofing. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with more Bearkat athletics coverage. Ben, take us home. You need a victory this week, man.
Yeah, eat 'em up, Cats. I'll see the Cats in Bowling Green, and we'll see if they can score more points than the team we don't know about.
Right now, we don't know a lot about Western Kentucky.